Now, Crystal Palace hadn't lost at Selhurst Park since February. They faced Manchester United, whose recent revival suffered a slap in the face against Everton on Monday.
What do you do to turn that game around?
Explain small things, but I think it was clear that just the pace, the intensity of the game, we have to increase that. I also noticed in the end of the first half, and I told that to the players, that they were tired, and you can feel it, and they will drop. If we score a goal, mentally they will suffer.
What are the things that you do to make the most of that?
It's the runs, and you can feel it that Josh was not just connecting the ball, was also to making the runs. We win a second ball. They have more difficulties to recover from pressing and then recover for the second half, for the second ball, and just explain that to the players, and we took advantage quite well in the second half.
Tell me about the quality of both of those goals, though, from Zirkzee and Mount.
No, unbelievable goals. Obviously, I think the Josh one, I didn't even thought he could score from there. It was a hell of a strike.
I think if you play the first time in your history European football, then you should invest and not save. I think January is too late. Then we have played more than 50% of our games. At Isma, we lost him today with an injury, and also he goes to AFCON. So everything we are facing now, it's not surprisingly. So everything was pretty clear, and I always really. Didn't say anything, but today I think it's also time to speak about it. That we missed the chance to play even a better season in the summer.
Well, of course, we are going to talk about Oliver Glasner's comments, but I want to go back to what Ruben Amorim said about Manchester United. He said that he spotted the tiredness in Crystal Palace and told his players how to exploit that weakness. Just run us through, Alan, what they weren't getting right in the first half and what they needed to change in the second.
Well, you watch what happens in the first half in terms of a lack of effort, a lack of running, a lack of commitment, a lack of closing down. Crystal Palace on the ball, no pressure from Manchester United. One through ball beats 3 or 4 Manchester United players, and the tackle here is hopeless from De Ligt, and they're straight through, simply because the application wasn't there, the intensity wasn't there, the aggression wasn't there. You got far too much time on the ball, Crystal Palace. You give good players time and they're gonna punish you, and they get into some really good positions. Same thing again. Look at the time Wharton's got on the ball. 3, 4, 5 touches before anyone even gets close to him. Then Kamada on the edge of the box. Look, there's no one near him. That should be in the back of the net. And all of a sudden, Amorim gets into his team at half-time. Watch the difference in the second half. I mean, that is clear. The running is clear. The closing down is clear. The commitment is clear. That it is so much better in the second half. Where was this in the first half? And that's exactly what the manager's on about at the end of the game. That's why he was having a pop with his players at half-time, because this was not happening in the first half. OK, once they get through, but look at they actually win the second ball. It seems they're much more up for that fight in the second half, and they get the rewards. Look, there's no time for any Crystal Palace player to get on the ball, because there's always 2 or 3 players in and around them. I mentioned the second ball. Watch the reaction when they lose it. I didn't see that in the first half. Man United fans didn't see that in the first half, and then all of a sudden they play on the front foot, they lose the ball. Look at that, the difference from the forward players, who were then all of a sudden chasing back. And absolutely, because Crystal Palace played in Europe on Thursday evening, and Man United had the full week to prepare. They played on Monday evening. That should have happened from the off. They got away with it today, but you have to give him credit for the way he changed it and the way he got stuck into his players at half-time, because they were a different team in the second half.
Yeah, as Alan said, and as Oliver Glasner alluded to as well, one of the reasons that they spotted that tiredness in Crystal Palace is because they do have this intense run of fixtures. And this is what they've done after European games this season. Just the one win, and that was against Aston Villa, when Villa were playing really poorly at the start of the season and struggling to get results. It's been difficult for them to kind of to absorb those extra fixtures without, as Oliver Glasner said, really going in and investing in their squad, and having lost big-name players as well, Micah.
Yeah, I mean, the summer business, where Pino was very good, but if you just look up here, they made a profit in the summer, and when you're losing Eze and Ward, and it was released, but in terms of a structure in the dressing room, Frankshire, Schlupp and Edouard, and that's all you bring in. I mean, as a manager, you're thinking, I've won the FA Cup, I deserve a little bit more, and the fans are all thinking that the same thing as well. But you have to be realistic as well. If you look where Palace are in the league this season, what they've done last season, who they can attract, I think that was a statement from the manager saying, give me what I want, or I'm going to walk out at the end of the season because his contract's up.
And you can see there, 11 changes, which is the fewest of any side in the Premier League so far this season. Does it feel like a row that he's now having publicly?
Yeah, well, he's come out and said that. He said himself that he'd been kept quiet for such a long time, and I guess he's got it in the bank because of the success they had last season. I think they're a very, very good team. They're a very good 11. But once you get through that 11 and you're going to get injuries and you're playing on Thursdays and Sundays, that is a big ask for those same players to keep going again and again and again. And clearly they can't do it.
There was one other thing you wanted to talk about from this game, which was the appearance of an old friend.
Some old guy made an appearance on our TV this afternoon. Happy birthday to him. I was going to say he looks like a pensioner, and I thought he actually is one.
Got his free bus pass.
Free bus pass there, yeah.
To the stadium.
So rude.
He's looking well, though, at least. He's looking
Gary,
great.
I think
Happy
is the
birthday,
phrase that
guys.
you're looking for. Now,
It's something more.
Yeah, 14 shots yesterday, only 2 on target. What about Manchester United? I mean, they put a run together, then they lose, everyone would expect them to beat Everton, then they lose. But today, actually, on paper, away at Crystal Palace,
It's a tough one.
is where they've really struggled in the past, and to turn that around and get back to winning ways.
Yeah, they did. They've done it very well. And one player I was particularly impressed with was Zirkzee. I know he scored in the game, but his link-up play and the way Man United played in certain times of the game was, you could see something happening. It was very cohesive, passing the ball around. It was really nice, And then in the end, after going a goal down, they came back and won the game. It showed a lot of character, and obviously they're going to have to build on that. But we don't know how long this is going to happen with Man United. They could come up again. I don't know who they got next week, but they could come next week. They could just easily lose the game.
West Ham at home on Thursday. That's Zirkzee scoring for the first time in 364 days, incredibly. What about Mason Mount, who's a player well from the Chelsea days? He's been through so much. He eventually got the match-winning goal. Pleased for him?
I am so pleased for him because I think he's a player that he can give so much more. In Chelsea, actually, in the year where we won the Champions League, I think he was instrumental in many ways. He was one of the key players, and to see him kind of in a way regression, going back, it makes me sad because I know his value as a player, also as a person. So I'm pleased for today. I hope he can get injury-free and continue progressing because he has all the ability to do that.
Was that quick thinking, Righty, or did you think Dean Henderson could have done a little bit better?
No, I think Dean Henderson's totally let down by the wall. I don't think they were ready. Look, you can see Mateta, look, he's just turned round. The ball just broke. You got Nketiah and the 10, they just broke from the wall. The ball didn't stay together. It was poor from Crystal Palace, and I think you probably got to blame the goalkeeper and the wall. That should have been sorted ages. Should have been sorted ages ago in that particular instant.
Looking from the outside, overall, there's so many questions to be asked of Manchester United. Where are they at for you? Because they've gone into the top 8 again, 2 or 3 points off the Champions League places.
It's so difficult to judge this team. One day you look.
Do you like Ruben Amorim looking from the outside?
I mean, I saw some of the things that his team they do. When they get it going, they're very good to watch. They produce. They are very good offensively. I think they have a certain weakness defending. It is a team that sometimes doesn't defend as well as they do attack. And my opinion is that if you don't get the defending going, and you're gonna always struggle, even offensively eventually.
Yeah, absolutely right. The thing is that like coming through like I did with George Graham at Arsenal and all the managers since, you always build it on the defence, because then you just let the flair players who are up front, and they have got a few who can do. But you know, obviously Bruno's playing in a deeper position, and ideally, if you've got the right players, Bruno plays further forward because he is an offensive player. Ahmad as well, good player. You know, players like this who can create and then can score. So, you know, once Man United get that properly sorted, which we've been waiting for a while to get that midfield sorted, and then Bruno could play in his right position, then you feel that defenders are needed. You know, I mean, Euro made the error with the penalty, but I think they need more experienced defenders, and then they need I don't know, just for Moses Caicedo, that kind of midfielder, Belieber, who they've been linked with Brighton. I don't know if that's going to happen sooner or later, but they need that midfield player who can anchor them, and then you can get, whether it's Bruno, even Mason Mount, you know, like pushing forward off of him. There's so much more to be done for United. That once they get that sorted, goalkeeper, I think as well, need a goalkeeper situation sorted properly, defensive-wise, and then that midfielder.
And just a quick mention in terms of the top four, Aston Villa are in it. After that dreadful start, they've hit real consistency and momentum in all competitions under Unai Emery.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The coach is an unbelievable coach, I have to say. It's structure, organised, and his teams, they will always be there because they might have a different a problem in a certain period as they had at the beginning, but they will always be back in fighting. He's so well structured. He's so well organised. I played against him when we were at Chelsea, and he was the coach of Arsenal, and I was so impressed of the work that he does with the team. I always thought that it was one of the most organised teams we play against as Chelsea, and so you can see he works a lot on the team. And they know what they're doing. They go through difficult moments, but they're always they're fighting for something.
They've won 7 out of 8 in the Premier League now.
Yeah, but you know, like when you hear about Unai and you hear the players, the preparation. You know, the videos they have to watch, the constant, the structural play in that. It doesn't surprise me when they go on these kind of runs, because if the players take on what he's trying to give them, then they're going to get that right. It's only when they don't get it right, the players themselves, it doesn't work. But when they do, this is when Villa starts.
He's very solid.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to what we were talking about before about Manchester United, you know. Sometimes they are so brilliant going forward, it's good to watch, but sometimes you can see they're not on the same level defensively. And I heard Maresca many times saying the same, you know, you have to be balanced as a team. You have to be good going forward, but at the same time you need to defend well. Otherwise it doesn't work. It's a structure that sooner or later it will fail.
It will fail, yeah.
OK, well, that is the weekend complete, but no rest for the wicked. We are back this week, of course, with Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday action in the Premier League. 3 games on Tuesday. Spurs with that second-best away record. Go to Newcastle, who just put back-to-back wins together. And City, of course, 5 points behind Arsenal, are away at Fulham. Then 6 games on an action-packed Wednesday evening. The leaders Arsenal face Brentford. Chelsea are away at Leeds, and Liverpool trying to move on from that win today and build on it. Have the mightily impressive newly promoted Sunderland visiting Anfield, and then West Ham beaten by Liverpool today go to Manchester United without Paquetá, of course, who will be suspended. So in terms of the leaders Arsenal, you keep saying to me, you've got to win your home games. That's certainly one they've got to win on Wednesday. Then.
Without a doubt, Steve. And I think that they know it as well. Obviously, the more you can win away, the more chance you don't really want to lose any at home, but you've got to win the home game. So again, it's a good point. That's another game that they have to win. So, you know, onwards and upwards.
Against the team, let's be honest, who've surprised us all, haven't they?
They always do. They always do. But at the same time, this is about taking the last step, Steve, and this is what Arsenal are trying to do this season. So these games have to be won at home.
OK. I'm glad you two are finishing the day with a smile. It was very interesting watching Chelsea Arsenal with you.
Yeah, he's been abusing me for the whole afternoon.
He's been teasing me.
Provocative, isn't
it?
Gentlemen, great to see you. Thank you very much to Gianfranco and to Wrighty. A point apiece between their former clubs. Arsenal then head into this busy midweek